to do. It's kind of late. Well, it's not really late. It's almost late. But I'm just not getting home. I spent some time with my sister today. And Father, thank you so much for protecting my sister. She almost got hit by a car. So I just thank you, Holy Spirit. What's funny, y'all? This is why you should stay prayed up. The other day I was thinking, I was like, I feel like something is about to happen. So I texted my family and I was like, y'all need to worship God today and pray. Like, praise him, listen to worship music, and just pray. So they did. And excuse me, I didn't tell them exactly why, but I felt a death coming. I just felt that type of heaviness. And ever since I was a kid, I've been, I don't know if it's a blessing. I mean, I guess it's a blessing, but I could feel, and I'm not saying every time, but I could usually feel when something is gonna happen. At least for my dad, I had a dream about it, and my mom did too. And so my mom said, maybe yesterday, she was like, she said something that made, what did she say? I'm sorry, I can't remember. She said something like, dang, it would be weird if you weren't here. Or she said something like, she basically told my sister, if you move out, it would be weird. Or if you basically, without you, it would be weird. But she wasn't saying it in a death type of way. And there was something else that my mom said. My mom experienced two things that made her feel like that. But anyway, long story short, the Lord was protecting my sister. The devil was trying his best. And I just thank God that we were praying. I pray for my family every single day. And I even tell the Lord, like, if I forget, which I usually don't, if I forget to pray for my family, I say, Lord, please count them in all of my prayers. Like, if I pray for healing, if I pray for forgiveness, if I repent, if I ask the Lord to protect me, I'm putting my sister in there. I'm putting my husband in there. I don't even know that man. At least I don't think I know him. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, the Lord, he had his hand over my sister for sure. The car grazed her. She said she saw the car coming. And usually people like the fight or flight or freeze. She saw the car coming. She kind of scooted up just a little bit, and it kind of like grazed her. I think she felt, you know, felt the wind, felt the shaking upness. She just keep thanking God, like, and my sister don't even talk like that. She keep thanking God. My mom was like, maybe God was trying to get your attention. She said, well, he got it now. You never know. Personally, I don't think, and we talked about this too, I don't think the Lord will like intentionally cause something like that to happen. But then again, I don't know. I don't know how the Lord, you know what I'm saying? Even after we read the Bible, we still don't know his ways. We still don't know his plans. His ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. It don't say, oh, once you read the Bible, you're going to know how God do everything. No. Of course, we learn his character. And that doesn't change. But anywho, today we'll be reading chapters 29 through 31. 29, 33. Okay. Offerings for the Feast of Trumpets, chapter 29. Alright. On the first day of the 17th month, you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. It is a day for you to blow your trumpets. And you shall offer a burnt offering for a pleasing aroma to the Lord. 1 bull from the herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs, a year old, without blemish. And also their grain offering, and fine flour mixed with oil. 3/10 of an ephah for the bull. 2/10 for the ram, and 1/10 for each of the 7 lambs. With 1 male goat for a sin offering, to make atonement for you, besides the burnt offering of the new moon and its offering and its grain offering, and the regular burnt offering and its grain offering, and the drink offering according to the rule for them, for a pleasing aroma of food offering to the Lord. Offerings for the day of atonement. On the 10th day of the 7th month, you shall have a holy convocation and afflict yourselves, which means to fast. Oh, my pen. Oh, dang. Alright. I gotta get my pen. Hold up, y'all. Let me fix my camera real quick, naive. Because real comfy. Okay. Okay. Well, got the handy dandy. I might take this off. I'm not hot, but I'm like, anyway, let's just keep going. You know how you get home and you just want to like feel free? I don't feel free, right? I feel like trapped. Anyway, so which means to afflict yourselves means to fast. Alright, you shall do no work, but you shall offer burnt offering to the Lord, a pleasing aroma. 1 bull from the herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old. See that they are without blemish, and their grain offering shall be of fine flour mixed with oil. 3/10 of the ephah for the bull, 2/10 for the 1 ram, a 10th for each of the 7 lambs. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the sin offering of atonement. And where am I? I just lost my place. Oh, and the regular burnt offering and its grain offering, and the drink offerings for the feast of booths. On the 15th day of the 7th month, you shall. So this all happens on the 7th day. I mean on the 7th month, I think. Okay. On the 15th day of the 7th month, you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work, and you shall keep a feast to the Lord for 7 days. And you shall offer a burnt offering, a food offering with a pleasing aroma to the Lord, 13 bulls from the herd, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old. They shall be without blemish, and a grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah for each of their 13 bulls, 2/10 for each of the 2 rams, and a 10th for each of the 14 lambs. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. On the 2nd day, 12 bulls for the herd, 2 rams, 14 male lambs, a year old without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, in a prescribed quantity. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering and its grain offering and the drink offerings. Also, I might make another video about this, but I'm so grateful to have my sister, because I'm grateful to have my family, my sisters, you know, including, but of course including my sisters. Life would be quiet without my sisters. It would be quiet. I feel like something missing. It would feel like, and I'm sorry to anybody who's lost their sister or their, you know, close family, even a cousin. Your cousin could feel like your sisters. Yeah, I'm definitely apologetic about that, and I do hope that if you are experiencing that type of loss, yeah, I pray that you're able to find some type of peace in that, and I pray that the Lord not replaces it. I don't think we should replace pain. I think we should embrace it, and because there's a lot of beautiful things that come from pain. It ain't beautiful in the beginning, that's for sure, but there is some beauty in it after, when all the dust has settled. Yeah, things could be beautiful. But of course, it's easy to say when you haven't experienced that type of loss. I've experienced loss, big loss, but not of my sisters. I don't know if I'd be able to handle that. Yeah, I don't know. Anywho, I mean, I would be able to handle it because the Lord will equip me with what I need, but I don't want it. I don't want to handle that. I really don't. And I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing as in it's funny. It's like a defense mechanism. Anywho. Okay. Make sure it's still recording. On the third day, 11 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs, a year old without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offerings for the bulls, the rams, the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, and its grain offering and its drink offering. On the 14th day, 10 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs, a year old without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offering for the bulls, rams, lambs, and in the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering and its grain offering and its drink offering. On the 5th day, oh, it said 4th day. I don't know if I said that. I think I might have said something else. So that one was the 4th day. This one is the 5th day. 9 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs, a year old without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, the lambs, and the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, and its grain offering and its drink offering. On the 6th day, 8 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs, a year old without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offering for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offerings. On the 7th day, 7 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs, a year old without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, and its grain offering, and its drink offering. I wonder if we're going to see these animals in heaven. On the 8th day, and I also wonder why he chose male lamb. I have so many questions for the Lord. He gonna be like, girl, will you please go sit down? But Lord, why did you? But I'm pretty sure once you get up there, everything starts to make sense. On the 8th day, you shall have a solemn assembly. You shall not do any ordinary work if you get up there. You shall not do any ordinary work, but you shall offer a burnt offering and a food offering with a pleasing aroma to the Lord. 1 bull, 1 ram, 7 male lambs, a year old without blemish, and the grain offering and the drink offering for the bull, for the ram, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, and its grain offering and its drink offering. These you shall offer to the Lord at your appointed feast, in addition to your vow offerings and your freewill offerings, for your burnt offerings, and for your grain offerings, your drink offerings, and for your peace offerings. So Moses told the people of Israel everything just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Chapter 30. Men and vows. Which I thought Moses was in trouble. But maybe that's coming up. Yeah, no, we definitely read something about Moses not listening to the Lord's commandments. So I wonder when where was that? Because they had to appoint somebody else. Now I'm in confusion. Because I definitely commented on that. That's gonna bug me. That's gonna mess with my head. Oh, boom. Chapter 27, verse 14. really verse 12, but 14 is where he tells him what he did. Anywho, chapter 30. Excuse me. Men and vows. So Moses spoke to the heads of the tribes of the people of Israel, saying, I'm dehydrated. Why my heater going off? I'm dehydrated. I don't feel like getting up. Moses spoke to the heads of the people of Israel, saying, This is what the Lord had commanded. If a man vows a vow to the Lord or swears an oath to bind himself to a pledge, he shall not break his word. And what's interesting is, before I did this, I told the Lord, I said, I promise that I'm going to get this done. This Bible study, I'm going to do it. I'm at the point where it got to get done. It got to get done. Yes, sometimes I wait a little too long, and I'm sure that's not what the Lord wants for me. But usually that's because I don't sleep well. Like I'll go to sleep super late, and then I'll want to sleep in. Because I have to wake up at 6 a.m. for Bible study. Really at 5:50 for Bible study. And it just not getting an adequate amount of sleep is just not it. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Okay? Women in vows. I didn't expect to see this. Usually they forget we exist. Women in vows. If a woman vows a vow to the Lord and binds herself to the pledge, while within her father's house, in her youth, her father hears of her vow and of her pledge by which she has bound herself, and says nothing to her, then all her vows shall stand, and every pledge by which she has bound herself shall stand. This is interesting to me because this says if she does it in her father's house and her father hears it and she doesn't say something to her father. So what is this? I really have to know. And I'm not a feminist at all, but I do want to understand the importance of men. Like, why did the Lord always have the male? Yes, okay, I get it. Men are stronger, men are more dominant. But is there an underlying factor that makes the Lord like put men on this really high regard? Like, it doesn't say, you know, she can make a vow to God and it will stand. No, it says she makes it in her father's house and he hears it and da 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 da. So what is up with that? I really want to know. See, another question for the Lord. Excuse me. But if her father opposes her on the day that he hears of it, no vow of hers, no pledge by which she has bound herself to shall stand. So, like, what is that? If I make a vow to the Lord and my father is like, no, like if he opposes it, then it doesn't stand. Like, what is up with that? And has that changed today? Yes, I get it. Jesus came, you know. I get that. And maybe I will read later on about something like that, but excuse me. But I really just want to know. If she marries a husband, here we go again, while under her vows or any thoughtless utterance of her lips by which she has bound herself, and her husband hears of it and says nothing to her on the day that he hears it, then her vows shall stand, and her pledges by which she has bound herself to shall stand. Which is why we need to stop. And I know this probably isn't a vow, but why we shouldn't talk so negatively about ourselves. We say, oh, life is hard. Oh, life is, you know, life is effed up, or life is this, life is that. We say all these negative things, and then we look at our lives and it's like, yeah, well, I mean, I get why your life is like that. Don't get me wrong. A person could, you know, could daydream about unicorns and rainbows all day, and their life could still have some times where it's messed up, but those times, they don't let that defeat them, you know. Okay. And her husband, okay. But if on the day that her husband comes to her and he opposes it, then He makes void her vow that was on her, and her thoughtless utterance on her lips, by which she bound herself. And the Lord will forgive her. By any of a widow or the divorced woman, anything by which she has bound herself to, she shall stand against her. Right here. Shall stand against her. And if she is vowed in her husband's house, or bound herself to a pledge with an oath, her husband heard of it and said nothing to her, and did not oppose her, then her vow shall stand, and every pledge by which she bound herself shall stand. But if her husband makes them null and void on the day that he hears them, I think that's important. Then whatever proceeds out of her lips concerning her vows, concerning her pledge on herself, shall not stand. Excuse me. Her husband has made them void, and the Lord will forgive her. Any vow and any binding oath to afflict her, her husband may establish on her husband, or her husband may make void. But if her husband says nothing to her from day to day, then he establishes all her vows or all her pledges that are upon her. He has established them because he said nothing to her on the day that he heard them. But if he makes them null and void after he has heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. That's important. See, at times we complain as women. Hear me out, because we always hear the other side. So now I'm going to speak from the other side. We already have a lot of feminist videos talking about it. Talking about how free we want to be. Do y'all want to get drafted into the war? I don't want to get drafted into the war. Do y'all want to pay for your husband's iniquity when they don't keep their vows to the Lord? I don't. And that's what they have to do. So, I understand, I do understand equity. But me as a woman, I know I'm not the same as no man. I'm not trying to compete with no man. I'm not trying to buck up on no man. I'm not trying to fight no man. I'm not trying to... nothing. Nothing. Okay? Because I know my place. Now, a lot of people say, she's a pick-me, No, it's not about that. First of all, you can't be a pick-me when you're already chosen. Let's get it straight. Second of all, there's a difference between a pick-me and a person, a human being who knows their place. Just like a woman should know her place, a man should know his place. And he shouldn't be getting all buck wild in a woman's face, and he shouldn't be putting his hands on a woman. We all have our place. That's as human beings. It's not about gender. Of course, this topic is, but as humans, we gotta know our place. Otherwise, you stepping on places you ain't supposed to be. But yeah, I don't want to be equal to a man. Yes, there are some things that I want to be equal to. If we have the same job, we should be getting the same amount of money. That's just what it is. You're not doing nothing different than what I'm doing. That's different than what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is, men don't have children. They don't have periods. Women, we aren't, chosen in war. We aren't just drafted at 18. If there's a war, they gotta go. We have, some of us, don't get me wrong, we are in the Navy. We are, we choose to do those things. But a lot of men don't have that choice. So I like being a woman. I ain't gotta be hard. I ain't gotta be, I can just be how I am. That's what it means. Okay. These are the statutes that the Lord commanded Moses about a man and his wife, and a father and his daughter, while she is in her youth within her father's house. Vengeance on Midian. Chapter 31. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Avenge the people of Israel of the Midianites. Afterward you shall be gathered to your people. So Moses spoke to the people, saying, Arm men from among you for the war, that they may go against Midian to execute the Lord's vengeance on Midian. Excuse me. You shall send 1,000 from each of your tribes of Israel to war. So there were provided out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed for war, and Moses sent them to the war. 1,000 from each tribe, together with Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest, the vessels of the sanctuary, and the trumpets for the alarm in his hand. They warred against Midian as the Lord commanded Moses, and killed every male. Wow. Wow. I just wonder, there couldn't be a nicer way to do this. You know what I'm saying? And that is why women, let me shut up because somebody going, I know. That is, sometimes we are emotional. For the most part, women are more emotional. That is how I feel. Men can be more logical. Like, even in regular conversation, I was talking to my friends. It's a whole bunch of us. We eating crab. I'm talking to my friends, and there's a male there. Child, he was just watching that football game. We all talking about our emotions, and he would come into the conversation, and he said this, he would come into the conversation when it was more, you know, logical, but when we're in our feelings and we're talking about, you know, our emotions and stuff, he would, like, you know, just watch. And it's not that he didn't care, he just wasn't listening at all. He just can't comment on the things that we comment on. So, anywho, I'm over here saying they couldn't go to war in a nicer way. But, you know, that's what the Lord, you know, clearly wanted. They killed the kings of, they killed the kings too. They killed the kings of Midian with the rest of their slain. Evi, Rechem, Zor, Hor, and Reba, the 5 kings of Midian. Which is so weird because I'm like, ain't y'all all coming from the same, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know what's it called it, because I remember, well, I could be remembering wrong, I'm not sure. I remember they separated the tribes. So why separate the tribes if you're just gonna kill them? Did they just become separate? And this is why I have to read the Bible again and keep reading and keep reading and keep reading, because yeah, sometimes you're reading so much that you forget what you read. And they also killed Balaam, the son of Beor, with the sword. And the people of Israel took captive the women of Midian and the little ones. And they took as plunder all their cattle, their flocks, and their goods. All the cities and the places where they lived and all their encampments they burned with fire. And they took all the spoil and all the plunder, both men and of beasts. Both of man and of beasts. Then they brought the captives and the plunder and the spoil to Moses and to Eleazar the priest and the congregation of the people of Israel at the camp on the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho. Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the chief of the congregation went to the tent of meeting and went to meet them outside the camp. And Moses was angry with the officers of the army, and the commanders of the 1,000, and the commanders of 100, who had come from service in the war. Moses said to them, Have you let all the women live? Behold, these of Balaam's advice caused the people of Israel to act treacherously against the Lord, and the incident of Peor. So the plague came among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and every woman who has known men by lying with them. So Moses is like, hold on, you killed all the men, but you didn't kill none of the women? The women is the problem in the first place. Like, because the women, they slept with the women.